About a month back, I attended the North American Rock Garden Society's annual meeting, which had an optional one-day field trip tour to 3 gardens in the Syracuse area. I thought I would take some time off working in our own gardens at Flock for some inspiration from other fellow gardeners. Now, I didn't get an opportunity to do any interviews with the gardeners, but each were more than happy to have me film, so I thought I'd just provide some nice inspirational footage from these 3 very different gardens. All right, so you'll see the bus behind me, and I'm on a little garden tour today. 3 gardens today in Syracuse. So we're gonna get a chance to experience them. I'm just gonna do some quick filming and maybe we get some inspiration for our own land. The first garden was probably no more than a 1/4 acre, but boy, oh boy, she really used every bit of space while still having the land feel spacious enough to move around in. I believe she had been gardening that land for around 35 years and just chipped away at it a little at a time. She had one stately yew tree on the property which was mature enough to show off its flaky bark. And she really maximized this space with plants by focusing on many dwarf varieties of conifers and pendulous specimens, which is something that is characteristic at Flock too. Now, I took note of her garden edging, and I had been looking at corten steel edging, and I noticed she had that around some of her beds to give this nice clean edge between grass and garden. Look at the edging on this bed. Let's see this. Oh yeah, this is a metal edging. Very nice. See, that's, I think, more of what we need for our beds. Look at this, beautiful. It looks like an AB's. Very nicely manicured. And this looks like a weeping ulmus. I love trees like that. You could just kind of hide under them, read a book. Must be a little warmer up here because their alliums are past bloom and ours are just starting to bloom. The hardscaping was also charming. Various stone pathways led into different garden areas, and the seats and statues made of stone were particularly lovely because they felt as if the stones had just rolled into place, giving them natural character, whimsy, and movement. And I loved the individual garden rooms that she curated around the space, which often included some form of seating for people and water baths for birds and other wildlife. The next garden was very different from the first. This one was set on 18 acres, which was more wildscaped by a landscape designer. Upon entering the garden, you sensed there was a lot of charm here. Small pots lined the stairways, and a large pergola erected by hand with tree trunks and featuring cottage garden-style plants led you further into the garden. There was a courtyard of cottage plants and a section of raised beds for veggies, and all of these areas were smothered with pollinators. Additionally, there was a small man-made pond with a shade garden. And as you got further and further away from the core garden area, cultivated space began to give way into more wild space. Now, the final garden was still yet different from the first two. Though it had many of the same plant inspirations as the first, it was on a grander scale on account of its setting. This one was built on a steep slope which overlooked a lake. The real standouts on the land were the Weeping Fountain Beach, which was planted in 1984. And the Babbling Brook, which starts from under the home and travels through the stone terracing in the garden, which was impeccably done. And the large vining Aristolochia, which serves as a host plant for the pipevine swallowtail. There was plenty of space for shade garden plants, and I particularly had my eye on the Sambucus black lace, which had both a nice rounded shape and was massive. Now I planted 2 of these specimens at flock, and can only hope that they'll reach such an impressive size and shape. It is refreshing to see how other gardeners approach their design based on their botanical interests and the character of their surroundings. Now, as we approach year 2 at Flock, these gardens also serve as a nice vantage point for us, giving us a sense as to what ours may mature into decades into the future.